Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Hey, folks, give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. Oh, yeah. Yes. It's Friday night. I'm here. I'm live. Ready to talk some football. One Pride 40, I have missed you. I've missed you. I was supposed to get a jersey. I haven't gotten one. So, yeah, I've missed you, man. Keys. I'm assuming this is Keys. Keys and Gooch came on with me last Friday with Big Chief Sean. Thank you again for all those guys. It was a great show. It was a great time, and I look forward to having Keys, Gooch, and Big Chief Sean on again, hopefully very soon. Just some quick announcements. I'm going to have some Gambling 101 videos coming out next week. So by next Friday, I come on. I should have 2 videos released talking about a little Gambling 101. And then the 18th, I'm going to start breaking down the teams on to go in draft order. So Jacksonville should be looked Monday. Detroit should be Tuesday. Houston will be Wednesday. I'll just go in draft order. Of course, the 32nd team will be the Los Angeles Rams. So, you know what? I'm actually glad you brought this up. So the 2023 Michigan State Spartan recruiting class, you're ranked in the top 25. You should be ranked in the top 25. I didn't talk about this last week, and I thought about it. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, USC and UCLA are going to the Big Ten. They're abandoning the Pac-12. They're going to be part of the Big Ten. They're going to make the Big Ten 14. I think it's 14 teams, and now it's going to be 16 teams. But USC and UCLA are going to be part of the Big Ten in the 2024 season, really shaking things up. It'll be 16 teams in the Big. The Big Ten now. It's 16. And then the SEC, the plan is for them to go to 16. I don't know when that's going to happen. This probably is going to destroy the Pac-12. There's already been talks about, my nose is itching. It's not cocaine. There's been talks about Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah going to what is the Big 12, which is actually now only 10 teams. But yeah, they're going to destroy the Pac-12. Kind of a shame. Yeah, they are right now. But Michigan's always had a very solid recruiting class. So, but yeah, and that's a lot of fun because I mean, look at that. The Big 12, or I'm sorry, it's the Big 10. I think it's East. Yeah, the Big 10 East. You have Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Penn State. All of them are going to be ranked in the preseason top 20. So. It'll be interesting. Funk's here. He's here. He's sort of here. He's doing the fan thing. I understand. I'm just glad you popped in and said hello, man. One Pride 40 says, "Don't worry, I had an edible on a 4th of July." Well, I'm glad. Hopefully everybody had a good 4th of July. I'm excited because normally after the 4th of July, that kind of kicks off football season for me. And not next week, but the following week, I'll be doing a ton of videos. I'll have about, before the NFL season starts, probably about 35, maybe even 40 videos, depending on, there's a lot of things. As a matter of fact, one of the things, and I'm going to touch base on the Baker Mayfield trade to Carolina, how it affects both Cleveland Carolina. I didn't mention this in the description, but it's also going to affect the Houston Texans and how they're going to go and kind of move forward from the Deshaun Watson situation. Big Ten goes, yeah. I mean, you got Rutgers. I remember it begins with a P. I want to say Punxsutawney. It's something they play in a pause. Anyway, they play in New Jersey, and then it goes all the way to USC. It's very weird, and we'll have to see how things go. But it's kind of a surprising time. I'm honestly quite surprised. Yeah, well, you shouldn't be. And part of the reason they brought in Mel Tucker is because he was with Georgia, and he's got a strong stranglehold on the Georgia-Florida region. And he's able to recruit a lot of those guys from SEC caliber, because you're getting SEC caliber players there in East Lansing, and that's a big thing. One thing about college football is that it's more important to get top tier players than it is to be a top tier coach. Yeah. Now, I think Nick Saban is an X's and O's guy. Like if you put him on a team that's say 6-6, he could make them into like an 8-4 team, but he's not going to take a 4-win team and make them into a 10-win team. You can't do that. You need the players. And that's part of the big thing about Mel Tucker, and that's the reason why Michigan State gave him a lot of money. And he needs to keep having a top 25 recruiting class, because Ohio State's loaded, folks. Ohio State is loaded. I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name. Will come to me in a second. The coach who left Oklahoma to go to USC. He's bringing in some top tier players. USC is going to be a powerhouse sooner than later. Chip Kelly at UCLA, he took Oregon and turned them into a top 5 team. Had a couple of consecutive years. We'll see what he does with UCLA, but I mean, it's going to be interesting. Dan isn't interacting edibles because you can't snort them. Nose candy. Okay. They gave you superpower. Do not jump fences, One Pride 40. Do not jump fences. Denver Gators in the house. Denver Gator. For those of you who don't know, if you can see the name, Denver Gator. He is a big Chiefs LSU Tigers fan. Very excited about is it also Chip Kelly who left Notre Dame to go to LSU? And then Florida also has a top recruiting class. So the biggest high on academics, research agreements. It makes sense to me. They want to establish those relationships in sports. Yeah, I mean, interested in not interacting, fat fingers. I get it. I know they're third in 20. Which team's ranked third? Ohio State? Lincoln Riley. Yeah, Lincoln Riley. He's going to turn USC around. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting. I always say the same thing every year, that I'm going to watch more college football, and I never, because just time. Watch 25 to 30 college football games every Saturday, as much as I'd like to. I usually just stay in touch with the big games, and I try to stay in touch more with recruiting and for the draft. A lot of times you get the big name recruits. They end up being the big time players. They end up being, first round picks. Wink, I'm going to let you know right now. We do a lot of stuff with the draft. So if you're a draft or college football fan, you're in the right place, man. Michigan's in the shitter because they're not using nils. That's something that I was not aware about. I actually thought they were. But I think Michigan will be fine. They have that 5-star quarterback, McCarthy. I think he's going to be a really solid player. He'll be, if I'm correct, he'll be a sophomore. So he'll be like a 3-year starting quarterback there at Michigan. So we'll have to keep an eye out on that, though. Okay, Ohio State is third ranked. Yeah, they're going to do a good job. That's a team I could see them. Really, Ohio State might be my pick to be number one over both Georgia. Georgia's got an overhaul talent, and Alabama does too. Of course, their outside linebacker. God, 10 minutes. I'm drawing a complete blank on a couple different names here, but their outside linebacker may go well. He probably won't, but anyway, that player, he's something special. I'm interested in how the Lions use Mike Hughes. Liked him as a returner. He got embarrassed against the Bills. If I'm correct, Keys and some of my Lions fans will have to kind of jump in here. He'll probably be the starting nickel, and him and a few other players are going to be used in returning. It'll be an interesting preseason for the Detroit Lions because they have to really improve that front seven, which I think is a weakness, and that secondary is going to be kind of interesting because you're going to get Okudah. He's going to come back. They had a rookie 4th-round pick who was a good corner. Last year they had a 3rd-round pick. I'm drawing a complete blank on his name. So it'll be interesting to see how it gets started. Mike Hughes, I think, will be the starting nickel, but he could end up being the number 2 guy. It'd be interesting. All right, a little Arkansas action, huh? Michigan ranked in the 40th recruiting class, but they'll be fine, man. They'll be fine, man. Brandon, what's up, brother, man? I'm enjoying life, man. Enjoying life. Maybe because they lose a lot of talent at the wide receiver, but that running back is going to be a superstar, and that quarterback's amazing. They also have a lot of defensive talent coming. Right now, I'd have them over Georgia. I'm not sure about Alabama yet. Honestly, I forgot all. Yeah. He had some moments here in Kansas City. Nice, got another SEC fan here. Always kind of a soft spot for Razorback football. To be an exciting team to watch. They do have a really interesting quarterback. He's not an NFL quarterback. He's like 6'2", 245, can run. Possible fullback in the NFL, maybe tight end, depends on his length. It's got some interesting things, but it'll be interesting to see how Arkansas is going to be used. And of course, Florida's going to be another interesting team as well. Campbell said they're going to have more of attacking style defense. I kind of want to see some things. I'm kind of hoping that I get the Hard Knocks live. I got something called Plex. I don't see it live, and I'm not going to pay the $10 or $11 for HBO. So when it comes on, but I can't wait to watch Hard Knocks this year. Got some love to Brandon here, man. Not if they don't use Nils because players want money now. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what goes on. College football's kind of in a weird time right now, that Nils situation. Don't sleep on Buckeyes, F Georgia, and oh, dude, my boy Tim, man, dude, what's up? I'm on the road, but watch. How many teams do you think the Big 12 will end up with? I think the answer and the answer is going to be for all the conferences. All of them are going to get 16, and what they're trying to do is have 4-man teams, just like in the NFL. So what you're going to see is 4-man divisions, and then a Final Four competition for each one of the teams, because the winner should get an automatic bid into the BCS. So in the Big 12, there's been talk with BYU. There's been talk about bringing Nebraska back. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Nebraska will stay. And then it'll be interesting because, they got West Virginia, which I always thought was kind of a weird pick, but they're doing the same thing. They're trying to go from coast to coast. They got, West Virginia. God, I don't know all the whole division off the top of my head, but even though they have Oklahoma and Texas leaving, they're going to bring in a lot of teams. I think they're going to bring in BYU. I think they're going to try to bring in BYU. I think BYU signed with somebody. I think it's Big 12. Houston and one other team is also joining Big 12. But ultimately, it's going to be we're going to have 16 team conferences, and then it could go up bigger. But that's kind of what I'm seeing. One Pride says I'm expecting a 4.25, but I could be wrong. It'll be kind of interesting. I think more teams are adopting the college style philosophy. You're going to see a lot of 3-3-5 formations over the next couple of years. But that's kind of what it'll be kind of interesting because I kind of want to see how they're planning on using Hutchinson. Is he going to be used more as an outside linebacker or a defensive end? This is what they should do. They should use a 4-2-5 set. But I was expecting that last year, and then they went with kind of a 3-4, which ended up really kind of being a 4-2-5 anyway. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. But that's kind of what I think they should do. So, man, I learned that as a kid. There's a Baptist town in church. There's a Baptist church in town. I got a little tongue tied there. And every year, a group of college students come up from Arkansas to Iowa for vacation Bible school, corrupting us to say pig sweet. It's an interesting chant, man. It's an interesting chant. They have some pretty good fans. They really do. A buddy of mine, he's a big Arkansas fan. Quick question: is it fair to say Goff and Kirk Cousins are in the same tier? I have a few Minnesota fans telling me Kirk is top 8. Sorry, no. It's actually Funk. That's actually on topic. Everything's on topic, and it's a great question. I've never considered him a top 8 quarterback, but I've always liked Kirk Cousins. I always liked him a lot more than the majority of the public. I remember when Alex Smith was quarterbacking the Chiefs, and well, at the time they were the Redskins, now the Commanders, came to town. I told a lot of Chiefs fans I'd rather have Cousins than Alex Smith, and people blasted me for that. But I said I think he's the I just think he's better. I think I don't think he's 8. I like Minnesota Vikings fans. I got a soft spot for them. Of course, I love you Lions fans. You guys are a big part of my show, so I always got a soft spot for the Detroit fans. But I'd be really shocked if even the hardest core Minnesota Vikings fans said Cousins is a top 8 guy. I don't see that at all. Is it fair to say Goff and Cousins are in the same tier? I think they're close. I think seriously, if you took Jared Goff and Kirk Cousins, you switched them, I don't think you'd see too much of a difference. I think that's fair. I think if you're a hardcore Minnesota Vikings fan and you're going to tell me Cousins is the top 8 quarterback, I don't see that at all. I mean, let's just try to be objective here. You got Josh Allen, you have Mahomes, you have Aaron Rodgers. All right. I mean, they're definitely better. No question. Fair. I mean, I think that's pretty no-brainer. I think I can go Herbert. I can go Burrow. I think those two definitely better. I'm sorry, I forgot Brady. What asshole I am. So I mean, I just named 6 off the top of my head. Definitely better. And that just bam, just right off the top of my head. I would say Matt Ryan's better, but I mean, if you could argue that. I would say Russell Wilson. Now, keep in mind switching teams. Dak Prescott, I think definitely better. I mean, Cowboys fans kind of go nuts, but I just named 7, just bam. So Ohio State, yeah. Anybody else except Ohio State's an upset. I mean, seriously, the team's loaded with a couple Heisman candidates on offense and a solid defense. So there's no way I put Kurt in the top 8. I'd put him slightly. Yeah, I would. The question was same tier, and I think that's fair. Seriously, top 8. God, it's okay. For those of you who don't know, Keys hit me. We're in a group chat, and he hit me up about Chris Sims doing a top 40 list, top 40 quarterbacks, and I can't go through all 1 through 40, but I thought the number one surprise was that I don't think Rodgers made top 5, and I'm like, okay, that's the best quarterback in football the last 2 years. How is he not top 5? But Rodgers probably number 1. I would put Mahomes over Allen, but Brady, I would put 4, which is probably unfair, but that would be my top 4. I just named 4, but Herbert, how good is he? where you put Derek Carr. But yeah, I mean, I might have to do a top 8. But there's no. If you're a hardcore Vikings fan, I don't even think you could put Cousins in top 8. Funk, if you are these friends of yours or just people you're chatting with, are they trying to get underneath your skin? Are they smoking the stuff? I mean, but no, it's yeah. I predict Goff will be much better this season, second year in the system, playing to prove himself. And yes, yeah, you have to understand something. The weapons that Cousins has is night and day to what the Lions had last year. I mean, the Lions' best receiver last year was a 4th-round pick, where you got Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen. I mean, 2 legitimate number 1 wide receivers. The Vikings easily have the best weapons in NFC North. I could argue the Vikings may have the best weapons in the NFC. I mean, Dalvin Cook is probably the best player. People can argue Justin Jefferson. The first 2 seasons he's had is as good as any 2 seasons of any receiver ever. They have some young offensive linemen, and now they have an offensive-minded coach. So it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So traveling corruption is he's referring to a pig suey. Seriously, Dan slurring his speech there. Coffee. It's just coffee. Probably the Lions are still going to use 3-4 for the base. People can't comprehend that using a 3-4 puts an outside linebacker on the line and look like a 4-2, but it'll be a 2-4. You are correct. And the 4-2-5 is really 2 defensive linemen, 4 linebackers, but it looks more like a 4-2-5. So you're right. I one of these days, I have a whiteboard behind me, and I think I'm going to break down the subtle differences between, the 3-4 to 4-2-5 and the 2-4. I need to kind of do that one of these days. Ooh, Tim brings up a great question. Who do you think to be the best linebacker in the NFL this year? Oh, God, that's a tough one. Darius Leonard, Devin White. Devin White has as much God-given athletic talent at the linebacker position. Darius Leonard's reportedly plays at 215. Jacksonville signed, it's Faye. I can't pronounce his name, but he led the NFL in tackles for the Atlanta Falcons last year. He had 192 tackles, if my memory serves me correctly. If Jacksonville somehow gets like a wild card berth, he may be the best linebacker in football. I'm giving you inside linebackers, but if you're looking at like outside linebacker, it's funny that you brought that up. Justin Houston just signed with the Ravens. Or he goes by Odafe now. That'll be an interesting guy. I'm not putting him at number 1, but he'll be somebody to kind of keep an eye out on. But when you say linebacker, I kind of revert back to inside linebacker, tackling machine, not outside linebacker, sack machine. If you had to say, give me one just right off the top of my head, I'm going to go with Devin White with Tampa Bay. I mean, he's just got so much talent, and I think that with the switch to Bowles and more of a defensive-minded coach, I think you'll see a more conservative Tampa Bay offense, and I think you'll see maybe a slightly better defense. And Tampa Bay's probably a team to beat in the NFC or NFL. So usually best team, best defensive player. He would probably he would be on my short list to be a defensive player of the year. So I'll go with Devin White, but I have to kind of put some more thought into that. Great question. Is it true I read the Lions have the most expensive offense? I would say no, but they are giving Goff a lot of money. They're giving Goff a lot of money. I think Hawkinson's still on a rookie contract. They didn't give DJ Chark a lot of money. I think it was a 2-year, $12 million deal. Great deal, by the way. Real underrated. The DJ Chark deal is very underrated. I'm going to say no because you got several players under rookie deals. So I'm going to say no, but I mean, they are giving Goff a lot of money. I think he's like number 4, number 5 as far as quarterback salaries are concerned. Actually, I think it's now 5 or 6. I forgot. I think that list that I'm reciting to you doesn't include Deshaun Watson. I could be mistaken. Yeah. Excuse me. Last time Cousins was top 8 quarterback was in QB draft rankings year. You got drafted. That might be fair. I've always liked Cousins. I like him more than most people, but I'd be hard pressed to find a hardcore Vikings fan that thinks that Cousins is a top 8 guy. I think I just named 8. No, I think 7, but it's because the most money is in the offensive line in golf. The offensive line in golf probably the most expensive, but I mean skill position talent. I don't see how. But slating Tom is never a problem. I named off 8 guys real fast. I get her. One guy shot up, and then the other guy said Kirk Carey's team last year of bottom tier defense. Just objective, and I do have I do like the Vikings quite a bit. Dalvin Cook's the cog that carries that team. When you take Dalvin Cook away, that's a completely different team. Dalvin Cook carries that team, not Cousins. To be perfectly honest, I think you could substitute a couple different guys for Cousins. Due to a contract situation, it wouldn't surprise me if they're trying to move on from Cousins in 2023 or 2024. I don't think that he's even a long-term guy. So some people just don't have it. Wilson, Carr, Murray, Jackson. I didn't even think about Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson. I think Derek Carr is better, but you could argue that. Lamar Jackson, I would put him above, but you could argue that. But 14, 16, that's fair. Watson, Wilson, Burrows, Stafford, Rodgers, Mahomes, Allen, Brady, Carr, Herbert. There's 10 better all day. Goff and Kirk are both guys who can win with. These 10 can steal you a game or two. I don't disagree with this at all. Don't disagree with this at all. You could I'm nitpicking here. I'm nitpicking with Wilson and Carr. But I would probably take both those guys over Cousins. Jefferson. I would take Jefferson over Chase. And the reason why is I want to see, and I'm behind on comments. I apologize. Jefferson went and leaped up from 1 to 2. I want to see what Chase does. Another thing is that, and I'm going to talk about this quite a bit. When I start breaking down teams, it's a trend when a team that's a perennially bad team skyrockets up. It's like that heart rate monitor where it goes beep and then you go back down. Take a look at San Francisco 49ers, perennial loser. And then they win 13 games. They lose the Super Bowl. Next year, what happened? They won 6 games. And I think the same thing will happen with Cincinnati. Now, how far they dropped. Remember they finished the season 10-7 and got kind of lucky in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm a little bitter about that. But hey, I'm only human. Let's see how he does year 2. But yeah, I think Jefferson hands down. Vikings will be more passing heavy because a new young head coach, offensive coordinator. I'm not sure they will. I think they'll be. It'll be interesting. Lamar Jackson probably 11. I would take Jackson over Cousins, but you have to have the right offense. You know, if you put Lamar Jackson with Minnesota, it would probably take a step down. Where if you put Cousins on Baltimore takes a step down. Makes sense. What's up, though? Damn, it's hot here in SoCal. Go Lions. I didn't know you were in SoCal. It's like 95 here in Kansas City. So, yeah. Anal own best linebacker this year, Fabio himself. Great name, great hair. Hopefully best linebacker. Hopefully best linebacker. Is Watson better? He may not play. I would say yes. Wow. Okay. I disagree, but okay. Hatters, Alicians, Rodriguez. Yes, Drew Lions. Okay. I was surprised. Most of the money goes to golf and O-line. Cousins is a good player. Cousins a good player. He's just not top 8. I'm really surprised that a hardcore Vikings fan really believes that. Even with that, I still find that very hard to believe. 5th-year option for, I think, was he picked 7th? Still shouldn't be, you know. An article that said the Lions have the highest paid offense also said Chark is getting 10 this year, and he's only getting 4, I believe, in 3D. Yeah, he's not getting 10. I thought it was a 2-year, $12 million deal, just right off the top of my head. So sometimes the numbers aren't exactly, it kind of depends on how you look at the numbers. Like, for example, Mahomes is getting $500 million over the next 10 years, but he's really not getting 50 million this year, so that's kind of subjective. Cousins above average quarterback, not top. I agree with that. I think he's above average. I think he's just outside the top 10. Hawks, okay. It's 2023. San Francisco's injury-fueled year every other year, though. This is a trend, though. This is a trend throughout NFL history. Take the Chicago Bears. They had 6 seasons of double-digit losses. Matt Nagy took over. They won 12 games. The next year, they went down to 8. Kansas City had several bad years. Andy Reid takes over, goes to 11. Next year, it goes back down to 9. This is an NFL trend. This is a gambling 101 tip. Is that when a team that's a perennial loser spikes up, almost always he comes back down. I brought this up with the Dallas Cowboys the year that they won 12 games. Next year they won 8. And I told this to a Cowboys fan, and he's like, I'm not going to subscribe to your channel because you're a hater. I was like, no, it's just logic. It's just how it happens. So I'm interested to see if the refs let Devontae Smith and Chase getting away with blatant OPI. If they do, they should both have huge years again. It'll be interesting. It's something the NFL always says they're going to crack down on, but I don't think they do. I think if you're an NFL wide receiver, you use your hands, and it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be interesting to see what happens with Chase. It'll be interesting. I love the first year. Don't get me wrong. Is he going to take the next step up? Is it going to be the same? Is he going to dip? It'll be interesting. Yeah, and the O-line is getting paid. Sewell is close to top 10. Big V, Frank, and Decker combined for close to 40, and Jonah's on a 3rd-round rookie deal. Because you're giving a lot of money. You're giving a lot of money to that offensive line, and that's one of the things that I really like about the Lions. When I start breaking them down, a spoiler alert, this is probably the number one thing I like. On my videos, when I break down the teams, I give you 3 things I like, followed by 3 things I don't like. Then at the end, I'm going to break down like the Vegas over/under and the schedule. But the Lions, normally when you have a team that's bad, you don't have this good of an offensive line. They do have a good offensive line. Yeah, you're right. The $12 million deal went to Reynolds. That's right. Josh Reynolds got 12. Okay, I got my receivers mixed up. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, Reynolds got $12 million deal. I have to look at Big V's contract for next year. A lot depend on what Goff and the Lions will have to do to get the QB they want. More than likely, we've talked about this for a while now. More than likely, the Lions will draft a quarterback pretty high in next year's draft. There's going to be some good ones coming out. Unless Goff just lights it up and Goff's willing to take some sort of contract help. If I'm Goff, No disrespect, but I'm going to get as much money as I can out of the Lions. And then when it's time to move on, just move on because he can start somewhere else in the NFL. And that's probably what his plan is. And honestly, his agent would kind of tell him like, hey, look, get as much money as we can on this contract. We'll get another big contract from another team in 2024 probably. I should probably watch Jefferson more, but so I've chased PTSD from week 17. Jefferson, if I remember right, had over 1,600 yards and over 100 receptions. Really is his first 2 seasons, best 2 seasons any receiver in NFL history. That's really impressive. And the jump he made from year 1 to year 2. Now, keep in mind, Thielen missed some games and they had to force feed Jefferson. And a lot of that has to do with Dalvin Cook. You really can't, take away from Dalvin Cook. So is Wink a Bengals fan? That's interesting. I think Amon-Ra is getting better. Oh, he should be. It's only a rookie. Damn. Don't forget, Gang gives you a money-back guarantee. I need a money back guarantee on my own bets. I'm going to put my money where my mouth is, and I'll be making some bets, and I'll do a little video. I'll actually do the video live. I'll do it on my phone. I don't know if I can do a live video on my phone, to be perfectly honest. But when I put some money down, I'll make a video and I'll show you the bet slips. I put my money where my mouth is. Well, it's a good line in golf. Chark is easily the better receiver. The only problem with Chark not being a number 1 guy is he just can't stay healthy. Only problem. If the team is healthy, Goff should have no excuse. Yeah, he should. I'm looking at Levis Chiefs. All right. We got a lot of Chiefs fans here. Denver Gator is a huge Chiefs fan. Justin Jefferson is a beast. I know Joe Burrow has never been without a wide receiver core in his televised career. Yeah, the Bengals losses did hurt. I'm going to talk about something that came across on the NFL and ESPN. One of the things is that the NFL has a list, and I should have saved this for the retro show. I am going to do another retro show. I had a lot of fun doing that. And I absolutely love talking about NFL history. So there's a list of the complete list of senior semifinalists of Pro Football Hall of Fame class of 2023. You can get this off the NFL Network. I think they have an abbreviated list on ESPN. I don't pay the $4.99 ESPN thing, so I don't know if this is on ESPN. I'm assuming it is. So you can get it on NFL Network or ESPN. This is the free list that's on the NFL Network, and then it gives a complete list for coach, contributors, semifinalists, and this is for coaches. But I want to talk players here, old time players. The number 1 player, and there's no excuse for Jim Marshall not to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I have no idea why he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He's the number 1 player on this list, but there's some big names on here. Sterling Sharp belongs in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. I'll argue that. Otis Taylor from the Kansas City Chiefs, Super Bowl 4. He's the guy who had that touchdown reception in Super Bowl 4, kind of iced the Super Bowl. Would be dominant in today's game. He should be in a Pro Football Hall of Fame. Joe Klecko, a member of the Sack Exchange. How he's not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame is just a joke. Lester Hayes, him and Mark Haynes. I think Mark Haynes is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Lester Hayes should be. The NFL Network did a list, top 10 corners of all time. And number 1 was Hayes and Haynes. So he should be in there. Randy Gradishar, Denver Gators, knows who I'm talking about. Part of Orange Crush in the 70s. Very underrated linebacker, but definitely Hall of Fame caliber. And I could go through every single one of these players, but those are the ones I gave you that should be in. And then list of contributors, of course, the big name for me, Marty Schottenheimer belongs in. Carl Peterson's on this list. I'm still I think it's Cannonball Run. He's in Cannonball Run with Terry Bradshaw. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But Dan Reeves, Carl Peterson's not in the Chiefs Ring of Honor yet. Should be. Ran the Chiefs organization for like 20 years. Took them from nothing to they won more games than anybody in the 90s. Regular season, of course, no Super Bowls, but belongs in there. Don Coryell, no question. If you like passing Don Coryell, I'd argue Mike Holmgren should be in. Rich McKay, John McVay. And he won't get in this year, but he will eventually. Robert Kraft. Amy Trask will get in because she's the first woman NFL executive. Trend-setting thing. So, in this day and age, I think you got to kind of let her in. So, Wink is a Raiders fan. Don't let him die. Lewis, wing back for Kentucky. No, you're talking quarterback. I think it's okay. Yes. So you got a lot of quarterbacks in this draft. Matter of fact, there's a guy I follow on Twitter. He bet $1,000 that Lewis will be the number one pick in the draft, NFL draft. So you have him. Alex Van Dyke, who I think is going to just skyrocket through the ranks. I saw a mock draft. I'm already looking at mock drafts. 4 quarterbacks in the top 10. You got the Alabama quarterback. I think it's Stroud, and then the Ohio State quarterback. But there's a lot of quarterbacks that's going to be in this draft. Yes, it did. You do need to improve your secondary, and I think that you're going to just try to do it with youth. You got a lot of young players. You added Mike Hughes, who's a solid veteran guy, not a number one type of guy. Ideally, you want Okudah because remember he got hurt early. Ideally, Okudah comes back and he's in that form because Ohio State had Lattimore, Ward, and then Okudah, and you're hoping Okudah can kind of link into that Pro Bowl corner thing. Yeah, I the one-way run is kind of the big reason, but his career deserves it. Jim Marshall belongs in Hall of Fame. Shocking that he's not. Without a wide receiver core or a top running back, yeah, you're talking about the Lions, and yes. Gradishar and Mecklenburg. Gradishar, yes. Mecklenburg, I'm iffy on. I can argue yes, the Gradishar over Mecklenburg. Let's just say that. Stickham Hall of Famer. He did have 12. Did have 12. Joe, yeah, I think it's Cannonball Run. Pride St. Brown's comp was award for me. Mark Clayton is a guy who's on the list, and him and Duper, they didn't do this with Stallworth and Swan, but I think Clayton and Duper need to be in together or not at all. And Duper's not on this list, which is strange. Amy Trask responded to me too. Very nice lady to overlook her time with the Raiders. She responded to me too. Amy Trask, I kind of want to pick my words here because I don't want to get kicked off YouTube, but let's just say women have it pretty good in society today. But yeah. At least 5 quarterbacks. Yeah. In round 1, maybe even in the top 10. I'm going to pass. Bryce Young's the Alabama quarterback. And there's some talk that the mock draft I saw had Young going to Detroit, I think at 3, if I remember right. And then C.J. Stroud's the Ohio State quarterback, I believe. And he went 4th. I can't remember off the top of my head. Hines Ward played in Dark Knight Rises, just throwing it out there. Yes, he was. He also played in The Walking Dead. He was a zombie. He's done like some minor acting things. I will never forget his last game in college as Georgia's quarterback in the Peach Bowl against Virginia, threw for 403. Pretty good quarterback. Not bad wide receiver. Who is this kid from Florida? If Clemson can figure out its O-line and do DJ Smith could be another one. Yeah, he's a guy that I am just head over heels in love with. Did not have a good year, but is just massive and has an NFL arm. And Clemson just needs to add some pieces together. And if Clemson competes for national championship, he could go number one as well. Hicks did return punts in Kansas City. I don't remember if he did kickoffs or not, but yeah, he could do special teams. Man, my typing time almost hanging out with you on the show last week gave me sympathy. I was adding what Funk said about Burrow never being without a top wide receiver core in his televised career. He's never been without. Oh, okay. With Burrow's always had a top tier receiving core and running back, and he has that. It'll be interesting to see what the Bengals do, but I'm telling everybody right now, this is just NFL 101. When a team that's a perennially bad team spikes up, they usually come back down the next year. So the Bengals are a team that I'm probably going to bet against, but we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Oh God, Ernest Givens and Jeffries. Oh man, these guys are not on the list, are they? Billy White Shoes Johnson, Joe Jacoby's another guy I will argue should be in the Hall of Fame. Neither one of those guys are on the list. Stanley Morgan is, which is interesting. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but he had some really good seasons. I'll argue Roger Craig shouldn't be. A lot of people think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's just outside, but I would argue that maybe he belonged more in Terrell Davis, but Terrell Davis got those Super Bowls. Craig was part of the cog that the 49ers machine was, where Terrell Davis won those Super Bowls. You know, the first one was on Terrell Davis. Second one, I'll argue the second Broncos Super Bowl in '98, they played the Vikings with that team. That the Vikings win that game by double digits. But anyway, neither here nor there. I better get away from that comment. Florida QB AR-15 Anthony Richardson. He's only a sophomore. Won't be in the draft. Stroud will be better. Stroud's going to be special, and then Richardson will when he enters the NFL, he'll probably enter the NFL as a wide receiver. Probably not as a quarterback unless he makes big strides as a passer. But he's a guy that is if you're a Florida Gator fan, he's a lot of fun to watch. Him and the guy from Arkansas, two very similar type quarterbacks, big, strong, excellent runners with big arms, not NFL caliber guys, but are going to be a lot of fun to watch. More worried about our safeties because we will probably trade up for a quarterback. Next year, yeah. KJ Jefferson is a dark horse, Cam Newton type. That's the Arkansas quarterback. I couldn't remember his name. He is a Cam Newton type. He's 6'2", like 240, 245, massive dude, big, powerful arm. Not an NFL arm, but like a strong downfield type of passer. A lot of fun to watch. Vikings, Chris Carter, Anthony Carter, Jake Reed. Anthony Carter didn't play with those two guys. Anthony Carter, old school guy in the 80s. Look up 1986 wild card game. A lot of people feel like that was the best 49ers team in the 80s was the 86 team, and they lost against Minnesota. Minnesota was 8-8 that year, I think it's 7-8. 7-8 or 8-7. They one game was subtracted off the 86 season. Anyway, he set like all sorts of playoff records. It was like 11 catches, 221 yards, a couple touchdowns, just unstoppable. It was one of the greatest playoff performances of all time. And it was the 49ers actually almost fired Bill Walsh after that game. But they went back and made up for it. I may have the year mixed up, but I think it's 86. Someone made a comment about Herbert being doomed to put up monster numbers and miss the playoffs again and again. So I said Stafford 2.0. He said Stafford and Herbert have nothing in common. I don't know. There's some similarities. I think there is some similarities. People are really really high on the Chargers, and I think a lot of people are going to be disappointed. And I could see him having big numbers just like he did last year. He threw for over $5,000, didn't make the playoffs. I can see the same thing. Keenan Allen, just for those of you outside the AFC West, Keenan Allen's one of the best players you'll ever see. Dominant wide receiver. Top 5 wide receiver doesn't get the recognition he deserves. Really, really good. Really, really, really good player. Perennial losers having a great season and dropping off makes sense given the formula for making schedules. You're bad. You should have very easy strength of schedule. Yeah, and that's part of it. That's part of it. That's the reason why, when you have a team that spikes up, are they arrived? Are they there? Or they dip down? Almost every year you'll see a dip. And the question is, how big is the dip? The Chiefs went from 11-5 to 9-7, missed the playoffs. Dallas went from 12-4 to 8-8, missed the playoffs. The Bears went from 12-4 to 8-8, missed the playoffs. Sometimes you dip a little bit, but I mean, think about it. Ignore what happened in the postseason. You're 10-7. They could have easily been 7-10. Remember, week 1 was a overtime win against the Vikings. Vikings missed a field goal. Let's say Vikings make a field goal. They're 9-8, right? Doesn't sound like much. 9-8, they don't make the playoffs. They don't make the playoffs. That's just fact. They don't make the playoffs. One game, a missed short field goal. So let's say the ball bounces the wrong way. And now they have a first place schedule. Plus, they got the mark on their back. It's always easier to be the underdog than to be the favorite. It's one thing that Chiefs fans are trying to do right now is like, oh, everybody's against us. No, we're not. No, we're basically the face of the NFL right now, and Patrick Mahomes is the face of the NFL, and Chiefs fans are trying to be like, no, we're the underdog. No, we're not. No, we're not. It'll be interesting to see how the Bills handle it. The Bills are now no longer the underdogs. They're the favorites. Not just favorites in the AFC East, favorites in the whole AFC. How do they handle it? Do they fall apart? Which Bengals certainly did have last year. Strength of schedule, so it's going to be harder. Yeah. I think a lot of people are going to be surprised at the Bengals when they fall off, and I think they will. And then you have a successful season, get much tougher strength of schedule. Yeah. Nothing in common is a bit extreme. Yeah, I think so too. Yeah, no, I got you. We got you. Yeah, Moss Reed. Yeah, we got you. I can't wait to see if Watson's playing before betting against Bengals. Way tougher division if the Browns are good. That's actually what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the Baker Mayfield trade to Carolina, how it affects both the Browns and the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to get caught up on the comments. I'm going to touch base about this trade. I'll start off with Carolina, but I am going to talk about Cleveland. Yeah, Cunningham with that 3 trio. Oh God, he had some good players in Philly. He had Keith Jackson, who's not on this list, but he's a guy who's going to get Hall of Fame consideration. Won't make it in. Really good player. Guy named Fred Barnett, probably never make it in Hall of Fame. Had some really good seasons, so pretty good player. 7 wins for the Lions or 8-9. We'll see. When I break down the Lions, I'm going to talk about the over/under. Right. Last time I checked, and I've been staying away from it. Caesars, I think, had 6, and then Barstool had 6.5. So I think that division was tough. Regardless, Steelers made the playoffs with Ben Arms falling off last year. Yeah. Ravens are decimated by injuries and COVID, still finished with only 2 losses, more than exactly. You're going to have an improved Baltimore team. You're going to have an improved Pittsburgh team. I actually think you're going to have a very improved Cleveland team. And I'm going to talk about that in a bit. Now, so Cincy haven't, yeah, they did. Cincy did, yeah, they did. Clutch kicker and almighty, yeah. The Blitz. I've been meaning to get a hold of you because I want you to join on my show and talk about some sleepers. The Saints are by far my favorite sleeper team this year. Let's plan on making a lot of money on them early in the season before people really start catching on. By the way, if you are the Blitz Predicts has a very good channel. I subbed for one of his episodes. I was very happy and honored to do so. He does a lot of football betting. And Blitz, if you're still there, I know I'm a little behind on comments. We need to get together. I want you to come on the show and talk about some of your sleepers and some things. I got a few myself. So Keenan Allen. That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one. Blitz predicts, yeah. We've been kind of distant, but what about all these week one games? There have been some good matchups or drama fueled matchups this 2022. Yeah, I'm actually gonna that's something I also want to talk about with the Blitz predicts, because I have some week one action I will be putting down on some really good games week one. All right, so let's talk about Baker Mayfield, the Carolina. I'm sorry, my nose is itching. Yeah, hit me up. Long story short, I meant to hit you up this week, but I want you to come on soon. And mainly for that matchup here, I'm going to give we'll give some free advice, and but I have some sleepers myself. So, Gator, what's your opinion on Chris Bogle? Do not know who that is. Find out. Itching, he's Amber Heard. There's like a new boy. Okay. All right. So let's talk about Baker Mayfield, the Carolina, and what this kind of means. All right. And so here's the drill. And I'm gonna use ESPN. I'm gonna use ESPN, which I don't normally use when it comes to looking at depth charts, but I just kind of want to see what they have. Because right now, here's what they got. This is from ESPN. Baker Mayfield starting, Sam Darnold backup, Matt Corral third string. For those of you who don't know, Matt Corral was a third-round pick, a great pickup in the third round because I thought he could have gone in the first, and then P.J. Walker as a fourth. So number one, the head coach, Matt Rule, has some player input. He signed a 7-year, $60 million deal with player personnel decision making ability. They do have a general manager, but Matt Rule has a lot of say in personnel decisions. Remember last year they gave up a second round pick for Sam Darnold, and then they went ahead and they brought they brought Cam Newton back. So here's the deal. It's really going to be a three-way competition. All right. Matt Corral's going to get a fair chance. All right. Matt Corral's going to get a fair chance. You have for those of you who don't remember, he got injured in the Sugar Bowl, which I was really disappointed in. And it also gave me a red flag because if you have problems staying healthy in college, how are you going to stay healthy in the pros? But he's the guy that I might just say, hey, look, let's just boom, give him a chance. That's kind of what I would do. I would say, hey, look, let's just go with the young guy, massive upside. If it doesn't work, we're going to just do everything we can and draft a quarterback in the first round. That's kind of what I would do. I think they did a smart thing in drafting Ekwonu using their first pick, so you shore up the offensive line. They didn't have a good offensive line last year, so that's part of the issue. But this is part of it, One Pride. I'm not sure the Panthers know what they're doing. And here's the thing. When you trade for Mayfield, you use the second-round pick on Darnold, the third-round pick on Corral. There's an old NFL saying, when you have more than one quarterback, you don't have any quarterbacks. And that's kind of what they have. I thought that what they should have done is stayed with Darnold, but there's going to be a three-man race. It's going to be between Corral, Mayfield, and Darnold. And I think at this point, there's nothing you can do for Sam Darnold. You took a swing and just get rid of him. I would just move on. Now, when Darnold was drafted, I thought he was the best quarterback there. I thought he was better than Allen. I thought he was better than Lamar Jackson. I incorrectly predicted that Mason Rudolph, the Oklahoma State kid, would be better than Baker Mayfield, the Oklahoma kid. Mason Rudolph doesn't have a future in Pittsburgh, so I'm kind of wrong about that. But I'd move on from Darnold and try to get some draft capital. All right. And then you go Baker Mayfield and Coral. Me personally, I would just go with Coral and just run a college type of offense, which Matt Rule will return to. Matt Rule, I think that this gets you fired. All right. You got a $60 million deal from an owner who was not expecting this. I'm going to call it a shit show. And that's what it is. It's a complete disaster. It's a absolute complete disaster. So that's what you got. That's what you got. And this is just a disaster. Bringing Baker Mayfield in is not the solution at all. I think it's a problem. And I think you take Darnold, who's the most talented of these quarterbacks, and you just isolate him. And I don't know if you could find a way, if Darnold says, you know what, hey, I'm the best quarterback here, and he is, and I'm going to start, but without the support of your coach and organization, I don't see how he doesn't shut down. And in a perfect situation, I think Darnold moves on. And Baker Mayfield, he may end up starting. I think he will. I think Baker will be the starter day one. I really do. I really do. But Matt Rule won't make it. You don't do things like this and expect to survive. And for those of you that don't know, he turned Temple around. He took over Baylor right after death. No, it wasn't really a death penalty, but the sex scandal, and he turned them around, took them to the Sugar Bowl. And college football pays just as much as the NFL. He tried the NFL, took a swing, and didn't work. It didn't work. So I think it's a disaster on the Carolina Panthers. I think Matt Rule will end up getting fired. I think Baker Mayfield will start. He'll prove that. I mean, he'll get a chance. And I think he'll show that he's about an average, NFL quarterback. And that's not going to be good enough. You have to have McCaffrey. Has to be able to stay healthy, which he can't since he's bulked up to 220, can't stay healthy. The defense, which is using that college-style defense, will have to continue to get better. What this means is the Panthers have like 10 mid-round picks spent in. Yeah. And it's a bad move. It's a bad move. And it's not going to work, and Matt Rule is going to get fired. That's what's going to happen. Matt Rule will be fired. Bottom line. I've been wondering that myself, man. He doesn't follow me on social media to the best of my knowledge, but hopefully he'll come back and give us some inside knowledge. I loved what they did in the draft, and I love Matt Corral. I love Matt Corral and Darnold. I think adding Baker Mayfield's a wrong move. Bad move. Bad move. Little love the Denver Gator here. I'm not sure. No, they don't. Basically, they gave a college coach, and this has happened in the history of the NFL, where teams have taken college coaches, tried to have them succeed, and it has worked. Jimmy Johnson, that was pretty good. And there has been some success from transferring from college to pros, but there's also been failures, and I think Matt Rule's a failure. This is a good one. Start, trade, cut, Matt Patricia, Urban Meyer, Adam Gase, gun to your head. I would start Patricia. I would trade Adam Gase, and I would cut Urban Meyer. Even though I'm going to tell you this right now. Sorry, my allergies are messing with me. It's not the cocaine, I promise you. I worded it. I'm sniffling, not due to cocaine, due to allergies. Urban Meyer will sign with a Power 5 school, and he will have success. Start Gase, trade Patricia, cut Urban. All right. Bogle solid, probably be better at MSU than University of Florida. Our former DC didn't utilize him correctly in a garbage defense. Hoping he breaks out probably better in a 4-3. Okay, he's the defensive coordinator. Okay. Slasher, I'm glad you're here, brother. Glad you're here. I agree. He agrees with me. Darnold looked terrible even when the Panthers were winning last year. No, he didn't look good at all. And I thought that this had to do more with the offensive line and McCaffrey being banged up. I would have tried everything to build the team around Darnold, and then Matt Corral, the third-round pick, who's got massive upside. You could have gone that you could have gone that way, but instead you didn't. So I mean, I think that what they're doing just simply isn't going to work. Sorry, I have this hangnail. It's been bothering me for the last 20 minutes here. I hope you get some pressures on the quarterback. We struggled with that last year. Yes, you did. Well, that was the reason why you got Hutchinson. Start Gase, trade, cut Meyer. Okay, we all kind of agree that Meyer's got to be cut. Longest month of the year, no football. Speculation, high hopes, hot takes. July drives me crazy. Hey, man, I get it. We're almost there. Hank Stram went from being an assistant football coach and head baseball coach to being a Hall of Fame. I didn't know he was a head baseball coach. Yeah, the owner when he took over is grew up I think in Pittsburgh and wants to have a Steelers type organization. So what he wanted to do is provide stability, and he was fully aware that the job that he did at Temple was first rate, and then what he did at Baylor was amazing, and when he took over, he had some really good ideas and some thoughts, and it just hasn't worked. It just hasn't worked. Yeah. Panthers. I think the Panthers will overhaul, do a complete overhaul, and they're actually in a kind of a tough division because the Blitz Predicts talked about the Saints, a team I'm also very high on. Then you have Tampa Bay, who I think is the team to beat in the NFC. Atlanta's building something. It'll be interesting. I think that they're a year behind, but they're building something. So I think Carolina is a team that you really kind of got to watch. And it's going to be a disaster. It is going to be a disaster. Rule will be fired around the bye week. Will be the new head coach of Arizona State next year. Now, I disagree with that, and I'll tell you why. Herm Edwards has taken over at Arizona State, and he's actually done a pretty good job. But Arizona State Herm Edwards is never going to get 4 and 5-star players, but he's the type of guy that's going to turn 1 and 2 and 3-star players into 2, 3, and 4-star players, and he'll lead them to a good team. I would not surprise me if Arizona's undergone some really, really, really rough times lately. So Arizona, not Arizona State, but agree, disagree. I didn't know that. I didn't know Hank Stram was the head baseball coach at Purdue. Did not know that. Did Herm have some? I was not aware of this. Message me about the details. I didn't know there was a scandal. If so, then that would be a great spot for Matt Rule to end up at, because Arizona State's going to kind of undergo with the Pac-12 being essentially dissolved. It'll be interesting to see what they do. But I've been very impressed with what the Herm's done the last 2 years, but I didn't know that there was a scandal. So, yeah, he can't be happy. He can't be happy. Hopefully he comes back and joins the show. There's a few people that haven't had a chance to come on, but yeah. Yeah, please message me about this. So now I'm going to talk on the Cleveland side of the Baker Mayfield trade. Okay. For those of you that don't know, Deshaun Watson's settled most of the deals, agreed to pay him off, which kind of surprised me. I thought he was going to play hardcore, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe I've been wrong all along. He's not been charged. He's not going to be charged criminally. He's going to be charged in a civil case, but it can have NFL ramifications. I kind of want to wait till everything's out and maybe take some time and review it later. But I've stood by Deshaun Watson. I thought that the women were interested in the cash grab more than it really happened, but it's hard to say. Now, public opinion is kind of always going to reign supreme rather than logic and facts. Bottom line, he hasn't been charged criminally, and I think that's a big thing. I think he is going to play. I think he's going to play this year. I'm going to stand by that. He's going to miss some games. 4, 6, 8, 12. Who knows? But I do think he's going to play. The plan for Cleveland is to have Jacoby Brissett as the starter. And for those of you that don't know, Jacoby Brissett can play. He would be, if I had to break down the 32 starting quarterbacks and Jacoby Brissett is considered a starting quarterback, he would probably be in my bottom third somewhere. But this is a kid with massive upside. Smart kid, big arm, mobile, played in New England, helped New England win a game. His very first start as third string quarterback, he ended up winning a game. I think he was 1-1 in New England. Then, of course, when Andrew Luck retired, he became the starter. Didn't do bad. I mean, he was put in a bad spot. Andrew Luck, retires suddenly, put in a bad spot. But the thing about the Cleveland Browns, which is really interesting, is that this is a team built around Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb stays healthy for 17 games. This is probably a playoff team with Jacoby Brissett. The one thing about Deshaun Watson, and I'm going to argue that even though it looks like it's, as of right now, looks like it's blowing up in the Browns' face, give the Browns some credit. We had a average to above average quarterback in Baker Mayfield. We tried to make it work. He wanted $50 million a year. We were willing to do 30. We parted ways. We get some draft picks. Not the end of the world, because you gave up a boatload of draft picks to Houston Texans, which I'm not even including in this three-way conversation here. I'm just talking about Cleveland and Carolina. So with Cleveland, they can win with Brissett. The key is really Nick Chubb. This offense is built on running the football. You have Nick Chubb, you have Kareem Hunt, you have the number one NFL running back duo, right? All you got to do is run the ball. The defense is solid, not spectacular, but solid and young. They got a lot of young, talented players. Jacoby Brissett can lead this team to the playoffs. Going forward, if you have a Sarr and Deshaun Watson with this running game, they're probably going to lose Kareem Hunt next year. And in running backs, you have a running back that wasn't able to stay healthy at Georgia, hasn't been able to stay healthy in the NFL. So that's kind of why you're going with building the team around Deshaun Watson long term. But this year, you're building it around those two running backs. So I got another fly around here. I'm going to get that. I missed them. God damn it. All right. Breaking Panthers hire Matt Rule, then hire Yeah, that's exactly what he wants. He just wants to play ball. I didn't play last year. He knows that, he knows he's one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the NFL, maybe top 8. So, per sources, Gase to Panthers will be a hilarious dumpster fire, perhaps more than the current full diaper of a shit show. Yeah, it really is a complete disaster. of what's going on in Carolina. It's going to be a complete disaster. Cleveland this year, getting rid of Baker, getting some extra draft picks, smart, because you already made a strong decision to go Jacoby Brissett, who's going to be perfect for this offense. By NFL standards, this offense is maybe one of the simplest offenses in the NFL. If you're a young quarterback, this is a great offense for you to learn. It's a lot of high percentage completion passes, a lot of rollouts. If you're a mobile quarterback, this is a great offense for you because it's going to be a run-heavy offense, and you're not going to be asked to do quite a lot. You're not asked to go back 50, 60 times. You're not asked to pass the ball 50, 60 times a game. You're not trying to read a defense. It's very, 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 very similar. A very, very simple scheme. So that's why I think Brissett running the team until Deshaun Watson takes over is going to be very beneficial. And Deshaun Watson doesn't need to be a superstar this year. Now, moving forward with Nick Chubb not being able to stay healthy, Kareem Hunt's probably going to be gone. That'll work out perfect. Oh, God, my nose is itching. If you could force any team in the NFL to replace their head coach with Gase or Meyer, what team? Oh God, I don't know. I think Urban Meyer is going to take over, and I'm going to give you the team. I think he's going to go to Nebraska. I think Nebraska, if they have a bad year, they were projected to go to a bowl game. They won 3 games, and the recruiting class is bad. You're in. I'm not going to reveal exactly, but I know you're near the Nebraska border more or less. You know that those guys are hardcore football fans. They would love to bring in Urban Meyer. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm making my call. Urban Meyer will be the head coach of Nebraska unless Nebraska wins like 10 games this year, which their experiment with Scott Frost seems not to be working out. I thought when he was with Miami, he got a bad deal. Adam Gase did. I thought he was fired. They brought in Flores, who just dismantled everything, blew up everything. Remember the tank for Tua trolls that were going on. And I think Gase will never get a chance to be a head coach again. But I thought he got a bad deal, and I think he's a solid offensive guy. But I think he did get a bad deal. I really think he got a bad deal, and I think if he does want to be a head coach, he'll go to college. But as far as putting an NFL team, seriously, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I couldn't give you an answer right now, though, unfortunately. Browns had the best kicker in the league, according to my co-host. Oh, I don't know about that. God damn it. I got to do something about these flies before the show. I would force the Bears. No, Lucy just I'm wondering if they'll go into a fire sale mode, and if they do, I want Jeremy Chin. And the answer is yes. Yes, they will. And what will happen is they will go into a fire sale mode. It'll be in the off season, because I think that what they'll – God damn it. Oh God, that's terrible. The answer is they will, and I think that what will happen is they're going to clean house, and I think that what they're going to do, if they don't do it, it wouldn't surprise me if Sam Darnold's gone in preseason. So what will happen is Mayfield will be gone. God, this is crazy. All right, so here's what will happen is that they'll Mayfield will be gone, Darnold will be gone, and then Matt Corral will probably be slated as the starter. They'll probably draft a quarterback. This is the year to do it. They'll probably have a high draft pick, and him and Corral will go in. Then on defense, they'll probably scrap the defensive scheme, switch to more NFL style. There are some good coaches that are available too. Sean Payton, if Dallas does not I mean, you never know. Unless Dallas wins the Super Bowl, Mike McCarthy's on the line. Sean Payton could take over. It wouldn't surprise me if they give Sean Payton a buttload of money to have him go to Carolina. Mike Zimmer, the former head coach in the Minnesota Vikings, he will be, if he wants to come back to the NFL as a head coach, he's a guy who's going to be a hot, big name. The guy, Rich Scarlino, the guy who was the interim head coach for the Raiders, if he does a good enough job with the Green Bay Packers special teams as a dark horse, he may be a guy that they say, hey, look, you went into a bad situation. We'll give you a chance. Eric Bieniemy is another guy. Anyway, I'm giving you a name. So here's what's going to happen. They're going to when Rule does get fired, I think it's just a matter of time. They'll do a complete overhaul. More than likely, I would not bank on it, but yeah, I don't be surprised if you see Carolina just kind of just overhaul their team. So the only solution for the Panthers, I'm glad you're here, Slasher, man. I wouldn't just, I didn't just skip over you. I'm glad you're here. The only solution for the Panthers is to get out of the shred to bring Cam to compete in the quarterback room. Darnold, Baker, Cam, Golden Corral, switching every other day. You know what? I'm really liking Philly, man. I am really, really, really liking Philly. Cato, or I just need to chill in the QBs. Well, that's what they did in the draft, and it was a smart. I thought they did a really smart move and drafted O'Connell, and they advertised quarterback. Then when O'Connell got who I got is probably the number one player in the draft. Playing left tackle, if he could play like he's capable of playing, then the offensive line will be significantly better, and that's going to be a big deal. But I think with the shit show that they're trying to do with the quarterback position, that's going to be an interesting thing. I think Baker wins that job, and I think they tried to move on from Darnold. Now, keep in mind, there's always a lot of injury, so there could be a team that likes Darnold's upside. Don't be surprised Darnold may end up in Seattle. Just throwing it out there. So, but yeah, they did do that. McCaffrey, can he stay healthy? Does the defense take the next step up? There's a lot of things. Eagles over 11.5 wins was plus 160 last time that I checked. I'll take those odds anyway. Plus 160 is a great number. I haven't broke down the over-unders yet. That was one thing I kind of wanted to do with the Blitz Predicts. I'm going to get him on the show, but don't make the bet yet. Hold off on the bet, but today, right now, I like it. I like it at plus 160. I wouldn't make a large wager. I'd make a small wager. I don't know the number, but that's what's called an adjusted ranking. And I'm going to wrap up this show, so I don't want to go into too much detail. If you have some questions or you want me, I have my phone here and I can look up with both Caesars and Barstool, but you can email me if you need specific information. But that's what's called an adjusted bet. I don't think 11.5 is the standard, but I haven't looked yet. Best kicker. That's funny. It's bad, but it's funny. Eyes are the windows to the soul. All right. Are my eyes glassy here? That's all Gooch. Tell Gooch I said hi, man. By the way, one of these days, so those of you who don't know, if you are a guest and you come on my show, usually after the show, we have these conversations. We usually talk for like an hour after the show, just about. And Gooch had like this great story I wish that we would share. One of these days I need to have like an after dark, because we talked about so many different things. Gooch had like all time. He had a story I wish I could put on the air. I'm not going to steal it, but it was a great story. And a lot of times off the air, there's topics that are better than on the air. So because they go into fire sale mode, Brad Holmes. Yeah, exactly. And I think they will. I really think they will. Let me do this here. Let me take a look at Carolina's schedule. I'm going to go and take a look here real fast. They have a bye week 13. Okay, yeah. So so here's the drill. Now, the trade deadline, I think, is 6 or 7. So the trade deadline would be gone. Week 13 is the bye week. All right. So they have a home game against Denver on the 12th week of the season. So after Thanksgiving, they lose this game to Denver. He'll be fired week 13. So the fire sale will be after the season. They won't have this sale early. Now it's been done before where teams do fire coaches before the bye. It's been done before, but I don't think that will be the case. I think a week 13 firing makes a lot of sense. You give your team a chance to adapt, and in 5 weeks you figure out kind of what to do. That makes a lot of sense to me. So I don't see that during the season. Now, after the season's over, Carolina will have a new general manager. They'll have a new head coach, and they can make some trades. I think teams attacked Minnesota this year in the draft by making some trades. I didn't like the Detroit Lions draft, but I loved the trade that they made with the Minnesota Vikings. And then Indianapolis also made a nice trade, and Green Bay also made a trade to get Christian Watson. A lot of these teams targeted first-time general managers. So I think that you have a really good point, because one thing that they did, the Detroit Lions, is they attacked a rookie first-time general manager, and I thought they made out really well with that trade compensation to go from 32 to 12. That was a smart, savvy move, and it's something that I could see them doing with a new general manager, and more than likely you're going to see them just kind of clean house. Yeah, they will. I think that this trade symbolizes that Carolina is going to go into a complete fire sale once the season's over, kind of rebuild, start from scratch. And next year's really the year to kind of start from scratch. You have multiple quarterbacks that are coming out that look like really, really good prospects. Some really, really good players. Ryan Anderson's outside linebacker out of Alabama, who could just be an absolute superstar. So, yeah, you have some good things going into the 2023 year. But I would be shocked if Matt Rule made it to 2023. I said, and I'll stand by it, that my number one coach on the hot seat is Dan Campbell. Just even I know you Lions fans don't agree with me, but when you're a 3-win coach, you can't win 3 games again and keep your job. And I don't think the Lions are going to have a 3-win season, but I think he's definitely on hot seat. But I think this trade kind of symbolizes that Matt Rule is not really ready for the NFL. It sounds like he took a swing and a miss, and it'll be a college team that he'll get a lot of money from, and he'll go back, and I think he'll have success in the college ranks. We'll have to see. All right, folks, I've been doing a lot of sniffling and coughing, and I'm going to wrap things up here. If anybody doesn't have any questions or comments, thank you, everybody, for joining. Blitz Predicts, if you're still there, please hit me up. I've been meaning to get with you. I kind of want to talk about doing a little gambling, talking. I have some dark horses of my own that I also have some Gambling 101 videos I'm going to come out with next week. So this, keep an eye out. Please keep an eye out for my Gambling 101 videos. I'm going to have them released next week, at least one of them. I might have to do some revisions. Let me know what you like or don't like about the video. I might have to redo it again, but that's something I'm planning on doing next week on my Gambling 101 videos. For those of you who do want to put some action down, whether it's week 1 or the yearly over-unders, those videos out next week. And then keep in mind, 18th, 10 days away from my first breakdown. Like I said, I'm going in draft order. So it'll be Jacksonville, then Detroit, then Houston, and then Team 32 will be the Los Angeles Rams. So Just subscribe, Back Talk Bros. Don't talk. By the way, Back Talk Bros. I wasn't able to make yesterday's show. They've been coming on Thursday at midnight. Fantastic time. I'm a night owl. They also hit me up about coming on to talk about the top 40. I can't break down 40 quarterbacks. It would just take a lot of time. Right now, I'm limited. One thing I will say is how's Aaron Rodgers not number one? But I may be able to join. They had a head coach quarterback combo that they're going to rank 32, and I might be on board with that. So we didn't go on last night midnight. Everybody, okay. All right, well, I wasn't able to make it, but usually they go on midnight Thursday. At least it's midnight Central Standard Time. And Denver Gator, it's a great show. It's a really great show. It's very, very good. I really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. So, and I should have reached out to you. I wasn't able to make it, but the head coach quarterback combo, I'm interested in. The 40 list, I'm not. So, but yeah, it's a great show. You made a smart decision. Guys, give me a thumbs up before you get out of here. Drop a comment below if you don't mind. It would really help out the algorithm, and I'll see everybody back next Friday.